Midnight, a sinking car. A brave boy dives into icy waters to save a stranger. The next day, a sleek black car pulls up to his modest home, revealing a secret that changes everything. What did this incredible act of courage uncover? And how does a small-town hero handle a life-altering twist? Stay tuned to uncover the truth behind this powerful tale of bravery, redemption, and unexpected rewards. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories that will warm your heart and keep you on the edge of your seat. The late spring storm swept through Redwood Hollow like an angry tide, bending the trees along Evergreen Lake under its weight. The steady patter of rain on rooftops had turned into a torrential downpour, and the small town, normally peaceful, felt swallowed by nature's fury. Wyatt Harper pulled his hood tighter against the rain, clutching a bundle of newspapers under one arm as he pedaled through the slick streets. Delivering newspapers wasn't glamorous, but for Wyatt, it was a way to help his mom. Rachel Harper had been working overtime at the diner, and every bit Wyatt earned helped. He gritted his teeth as a gust of wind nearly toppled him off his bike. "Just one more street," he muttered, his voice lost in the storm. As he turned onto the gravel road past Evergreen Lake, the unmistakable sound of screeching tires pierced through the rain. Wyatt froze. Ahead, through the curtain of rain, he saw an old sedan skid across the wet road. It swerved violently, hit a fallen branch, and careened off the embankment, plunging straight into the lake. Time seemed to slow. Wyatt's heart pounded as he dropped his bike and sprinted toward the water's edge. The car's headlights flickered beneath the surface, the front half already submerged. Inside, the silhouette of an elderly man moved frantically. Wyatt knew he couldn't waste time, but the reality hit him hard: he couldn't do this alone. His eyes darted around, and then he spotted Eli Bishop, his best friend, sitting on the dock a short distance away, a fishing rod in hand, completely unaware of the chaos unfolding. "Eli!" Wyatt shouted, his voice hoarse against the wind. "Get over here now." Eli looked up, startled, before dropping his rod and sprinting toward Wyatt. "What's going on?" he yelled, sliding to a stop as he saw the car sinking into the lake. "There's someone in there," Wyatt said, already kicking off his sneakers. "We've got to get him out." "Are you crazy?" Eli's voice cracked with panic, but he didn't hesitate. He ran to a nearby tree and broke off a long branch, dragging it toward the water's edge. "Take this," he shouted, extending the branch. Wyatt waded into the water, the cold biting through his clothes as he pushed toward the sinking car. Each step felt heavier, the muddy lake bed sucking at his feet. The wind whipped around him, and rain blurred his vision. "You don't have to do it alone," his father's voice echoed in his memory, calm and steady, from their long talks by the lake. "Lean on others when you need to." Wyatt grabbed the branch Eli held out, using it to steady himself as the water deepened. The car was almost fully submerged now, the man inside pounding weakly on the window. Wyatt reached the vehicle, the water up to his chest, and peered inside. The man, Sam Whitaker, was dazed, his movements sluggish. "I'm going to get you out," Wyatt shouted, though he wasn't sure Sam could hear him. He pulled at the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. His lungs burned as he took a deep breath and plunged underwater. The icy cold shocked his system, but he forced himself to focus, feeling along the door frame. The handle resisted, but Wyatt yanked with all his strength. Just as he thought he'd have to surface for air, the door creaked open, and Sam's body tilted toward the opening. Wyatt grabbed him under the arms and kicked hard toward the surface. "Eli!" Wyatt gasped as they broke through the water. "Help me pull him." Eli extended the branch further, and Wyatt looped Sam's arm over it. Together, they dragged the older man toward the shore. By the time they reached the muddy bank, Wyatt was trembling from the cold and exhaustion. Sam lay on his back, coughing weakly, his eyes fluttering open. "You're okay, sir," Wyatt said, his breath hitching as he leaned over the man. "We got you out." Eli knelt beside them, panting. "You scared me half to death, man," but we did it. We actually did it. Wyatt looked at Eli, his chest heaving. For a moment, he let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, they had done something good, something that mattered. Far off, the sound of sirens pierced the rain. Someone must have called for help. Wyatt stood shakily, looking down at Sam, whose lips moved in a faint whisper Wyatt couldn't make out. "Hang in there," Wyatt murmured, feeling the weight of the moment settle in his chest. As the sirens grew louder, Wyatt glanced at Eli and nodded. They'd done all they could. Now it was up to someone else. The wail of sirens cut through the storm as paramedics and a local sheriff's deputy arrived at the muddy bank of Evergreen Lake. Wyatt and Eli stood shivering beside Sam, who was wrapped in Wyatt's jacket and leaning weakly against a tree trunk. Rain still fell in sheets, plastering their clothes to their skin, but neither boy seemed to notice. They exchanged a glance, relief mixed with disbelief at what they had just pulled off. Sam Whitaker coughed again, his face pale but his eyes sharp as he looked at the boys. "You saved me," he said, his voice faint, barely audible over the rain. "Thank you." "You're welcome, sir," Wyatt replied, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. "We couldn't just let you drown." As the paramedics moved in to assess Sam, a familiar voice broke through the scene. "What on earth is going on here?" Wyatt groaned inwardly as Irene Hensley, the town's nosiest neighbor, emerged from the growing memory, calm and steady, from their long talks by the lake. "Lean on others when you need to." Wyatt grabbed the branch Eli held out, using it to steady himself as the water deepened. The car was almost fully submerged now, the man inside pounding weakly on the window. Wyatt reached the vehicle, the water up to his chest, and peered inside. The man, Sam Whitaker, was dazed, his movements sluggish. "I'm going to get you out," Wyatt shouted, though he wasn't sure Sam could hear him. He pulled at the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. His lungs burned as he took a deep breath and plunged underwater. The icy cold shocked his system, but he forced himself to focus, feeling along the door frame. The handle resisted, but Wyatt yanked with all his strength. Just as he thought he'd have to surface for air, the door creaked open, and Sam's body tilted toward the opening. Wyatt grabbed him under the arms and kicked hard toward the surface. "Eli!" Wyatt gasped as they broke through the water. "Help me pull him." Eli extended the branch further, and Wyatt looped Sam's arm over it. Together, they dragged the older man toward the shore. By the time they reached the muddy bank, Wyatt was trembling from the cold and exhaustion. Sam lay on his back, coughing weakly, his eyes fluttering open. "You're okay, sir," Wyatt said, his breath hitching as he leaned over the man. "We got you out." Eli knelt beside them, panting. "You scared me half to death, man, but we did it. We actually did it." Wyatt looked at Eli, his chest heaving. For a moment, he let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, they had done something good, something that mattered. Far off, the sound of sirens pierced the rain. Someone must have called for help. Wyatt stood shakily, looking down at Sam, whose lips moved in a faint whisper Wyatt couldn't make out. "Hang in there," Wyatt murmured, feeling the weight of the moment settle in his chest. As the sirens grew louder, Wyatt glanced at Eli and nodded. They'd done all they could. Now it was up to someone else. The wail of sirens cut through the storm as paramedics and a local sheriff's deputy arrived at the muddy bank of Evergreen Lake. Wyatt and Eli stood shivering beside Sam, who was wrapped in Wyatt's jacket and leaning weakly against a tree trunk. Rain still fell in sheets, plastering their clothes to their skin, but neither boy seemed to notice. They exchanged a glance, relief mixed with disbelief at what they had just pulled off. Sam Whitaker coughed again, his face pale but his eyes sharp as he looked at the boys. "You saved me," he said, his voice faint, barely audible over the rain. "Thank you." "You're welcome, sir," Wyatt replied, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. "We couldn't just let you drown." As the paramedics moved in to assess Sam, a familiar voice broke through the scene. What on earth is going on here? Wyatt groaned inwardly as Irene Hensley, the town's nosiest neighbor, emerged from the growing. Clear recording of the rescue, complete with Irene's enthusiastic commentary. The caption read, "Local heroes save man from sinking car." The view count was already in the hundreds, and the comments ranged from praise to curiosity. "I didn't ask for this," Wyatt muttered, handing the phone back to Eli. "Why did she have to post it?" "Why not?" Eli countered. "We did something that mattered, Wyatt. Don't downplay it." Wyatt didn't respond. Instead, he stepped outside, leaning against the porch railing as the morning breeze rustled the leaves. He couldn't shake the uneasy feeling growing in his chest. Sure, they'd saved a man's life, but the rescue had been messy, chaotic. If Eli hadn't been there, Wyatt wasn't sure he could have done it alone. "People are going to expect things now," Wyatt said finally, glancing at Eli. "What if they think we're something we're not?" Eli shrugged. "Let them think what they want. We know the truth, and so does Sam." Wyatt wasn't convinced, but he didn't argue. Instead, he stared out at the horizon, wondering what the coming days would bring. Somehow, he had a feeling life in Redwood Hollow was about to get a lot more complicated. The morning sun cut through the dissipating mist, casting a golden glow over Redwood Hollow. Wyatt sat on the front porch, idly tossing a small stone between his hands. His mind replayed the events of the storm, the sinking car, the freezing water, and the man they'd saved. Sam Whitaker's faint "thank you" echoed in his ears, but it didn't drown out the uneasy feeling growing in his chest. Eli had gone home after their conversation about the video, leaving Wyatt to grapple with the aftermath alone. The town's chatter about the rescue had only amplified overnight, and Wyatt wasn't sure if he was ready to face the attention waiting for him. Rachel's voice broke his thoughts. "Wyatt, can you come inside? Breakfast is ready." Before he could respond, the rumble of an unfamiliar engine filled the air. Wyatt froze, his eyes snapping to the narrow dirt road that led to their house. A sleek black car turned the corner and rolled into their driveway, its polished surface gleaming in the morning light. "Who on earth?" Rachel's voice trailed off as she stepped outside, her apron still tied around her waist. The car came to a stop, and the driver's side door opened. A woman in her late 30s stepped out, her sharp features softened by a warm smile. She was dressed in a tailored blazer and carried an air of confidence that seemed out of place in the modest surroundings of Redwood Hollow. "Good morning," she said, her voice clear and professional. Her eyes flicked between Wyatt and Rachel. "I'm looking for Wyatt Harper." Wyatt felt his stomach tighten. "That's me," he said cautiously, stepping closer. The woman extended her hand. "Anna Whitaker. I believe you and your friend saved my father's life." Wyatt blinked, taken aback. "Your father? Sam?" Anna nodded, her smile faltering slightly. "Yes. I haven't seen him in years, but when I saw the video of the rescue online, I knew I had to come here. I wanted to thank you personally for what you did." Rachel stepped forward, wiping her hands on her apron. "You're Sam's daughter?" she asked, her tone a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "I am," Anna replied, her expression turning serious, "though I haven't called Redwood Hollow home in a long time." The weight in her voice hinted at something unspoken, but before Wyatt could dwell on it, Anna turned her attention back to him. "What you and your friend did, risking your lives to save my father, it was extraordinary. You didn't just save him, you gave me a second chance to reconnect with him, and I can't thank you enough for that." Wyatt felt a flush of embarrassment rise to his cheeks. "It wasn't just me," he mumbled. "Eli helped too." "Even so," Anna said firmly, "what you did matters." She reached into her purse and pulled out a folder, handing it to Rachel. "This is a proposal. I'd like to cover any medical expenses you might have and offer Wyatt a scholarship to attend a private academy in Charleston. It's one of the best schools in the state. He deserves this opportunity." Rachel's eyes widened as she opened the folder, scanning the documents inside. This is incredibly generous, she said, her voice trembling slightly. But why go so far? You don't even know us. Anna hesitated, her confident demeanor faltering for the first time. You're right, she admitted. I don't know you. But I know my father, and I know how much he values loyalty and courage. What you did, it reflects the kind of person he used to be, before everything changed. What do you mean? Wyatt asked, his curiosity piqued. Anna sighed, glancing toward the horizon as if searching for the right words. My father and we've been estranged for years. There was an accident, a drowning. My brother, Michael. After he died, my father shut everyone out. He left Redwood Hollow, and I stayed away too. We haven't spoken in over a decade. Wyatt exchanged a glance with Rachel, the pieces of Sam's guarded demeanor falling into place. So why come back now, he asked. Because you reminded him, and me, that it's not too late to fix things, Anna said, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that second chances don't come around often. Wyatt felt a lump form in his throat. He looked at Rachel, who gave him a reassuring smile. You've done something extraordinary, Wyatt, she said softly. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I don't know, Wyatt said, his voice barely above a whisper. I'm just a kid. I don't deserve all this attention. Anna stepped closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. You don't have to be perfect to make a difference. What you did was enough, and more. The sound of tires crunching on gravel broke the moment. Eli appeared at the edge of the driveway, his fishing pole slung over one shoulder. He paused when he saw the black car, his eyes widening. What did I miss? He called out. Wyatt chuckled despite himself. A lot, he replied, his voice lighter than it had been all morning. As Anna prepared to leave, she handed Wyatt a business card. If you change your mind about the scholarship, or if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Wyatt stared at the card, the weight of her offer sinking in. He wasn't sure what the future held, but for the first time, he felt like it might be okay to hope for something better. The gravel path to Sam Whitaker's cabin wound through dense Appalachian woods, the morning sun breaking through the canopy in golden streaks. Wyatt and Eli walked side by side, the crunch of gravel underfoot punctuating their quiet conversation. You sure he's okay with us just showing up? Eli asked, glancing at Wyatt. I mean, the guy's been through a lot. He invited us, Wyatt replied, gripping the strap of his backpack. Said he wanted to talk. Besides, I've got questions, about him, about Anna, and everything. Eli smirked, kicking a loose rock ahead of them. Well, if this ends up being a weird emotional heart-to-heart, I'm gonna need snacks. Wyatt chuckled, but the laughter faded as the cabin came into view. Perched on the edge of a clearing, the small wooden structure looked sturdy yet worn, its walls darkened with age and weather. An assortment of tools hung neatly on the porch alongside a rocking chair and an old pair of boots. The scent of freshly cut wood lingered in the air. Sam was already waiting for them, seated on the porch with a steaming mug in his hands. He looked up as they approached, his face lighting with a faint smile. Didn't think you boys would actually take me up on the offer, he said, standing slowly. Figured we should check on you, Wyatt said. You doing okay? Sam nodded, his movements deliberate as he gestured for them to sit. Better than I've been in a long time. Come on in. I want to show you something. The cabin's interior was a reflection of its owner, simple, functional, and steeped in history. The walls were lined with shelves holding hand-carved figurines, clocks, and small tools. A workbench dominated one corner, its surface cluttered with gears, springs, and half-finished timepieces. Wyatt's gaze landed on a collection of pocket watches, each one unique. This is incredible, Wyatt murmured, running a finger along the edge of a polished wooden clock. You made all of these? Sam smiled, his expression tinged with pride. Every single one. Spent most of my life working with my hands, wood, metal, you name it. There's something about taking broken things and making them whole again. Wyatt exchanged a glance with Eli, who was inspecting a model ship on one of the shelves. That's pretty deep, Eli said, grinning. You should put that on a mug or something. Sam chuckled, but the sound quickly faded. He reached for a small wooden. Was a pocket watch, its silver surface gleaming softly in the cabin's warm light. This was my son's, Sam said quietly, his voice thick with emotion. Michael. He loved watches. Used to sit with me for hours, watching me work. I made this for him before he was taken from us. Wyatt and Eli fell silent, the weight of Sam's words settling over them. I shut everyone out after that, Sam continued, his eyes fixed on the watch. Blamed myself. Left Redwood Hollow, left Anna, left everything. Thought I could outrun the pain, but it doesn't work that way. When I saw you boys pull me out of that lake, it was like a wake-up call. Like life was telling me it wasn't too late to try again. Wyatt swallowed hard, the lump in his throat growing. We didn't do anything special, he said softly. We just did what we had to. Sam shook his head. You did more than you know. You gave me a chance to make things right with Anna, with myself. And I want you to have this. He held out the pocket watch, his hand trembling slightly. Wyatt hesitated, his eyes wide. Sam, I can't. You can, Sam said firmly. It's not just a watch. It's a reminder that time's precious, and so are the people who matter to you. You boys taught me that. Wyatt took the watch, its weight heavier than he expected. He looked at Eli, who nodded silently, his usual grin replaced by a rare seriousness. Thank you, Wyatt said, his voice barely audible. As they left the cabin, the sun was high overhead, casting long shadows through the trees. Wyatt clutched the pocket watch in his hand, its ticking a steady rhythm against his palm. What now? Eli asked, breaking the silence. Wyatt shrugged, a small smile tugging at his lips. Keep going, I guess. Keep doing what matters. 00:01:40:00, and so, a single act of courage rippled through Redwood Hollow, mending broken bonds, sparking second chances, and reminding us all that heroism isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up when it counts. Wyatt and Eli didn't set out to be heroes, but their bravery changed lives, including their own. What will your moment of courage be? Hit that like button if this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a reminder of what's possible, and subscribe for more tales of heart, hope, and humanity. Until next time, keep looking for the moments that matter.